Nick Reiner, that's the son of movie director Rob Reiner. Well, Nick Reiner has been arrested. He's in custody after the Hollywood director and actor and his wife, Michele Reiner, were found dead in their Los Angeles home. But things have taken a political turn after President Trump launched a blistering attack on Truth Social against the director only a day after he was found dead. So the president said that Reiner, a once very talented movie director and comedy star, he said this on his social media site Truth Social, he said a once very talented movie director and comedy star had passed away due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as TDS, or Trump Derangement Syndrome. Let's talk to forensic psychologist Dr. Carol Lieberman. But Carol, we're actually going to talk about, we're not talking about Donald Trump there, we're going to talk about what's happened here with the Reiner family and how unusual this is to have what appears to be a son stab to death his mother and father. What's your assessment of this when you hear about this situation? What is the psychological tsunami which has happened for that guy, that murderer?
Yes. Well, first of all, as a forensic psychiatrist, of course, it's a very sad situation, and it's particularly sad if it was, in fact, his son. I mean, he's innocent until proven guilty, but allegedly his son, Nick. And Nick has had problems for much of his life. In fact, since he was a little boy. This is called patricide, the killing of one's father. And it generally stems from an unresolved Oedipal complex. An Oedipal complex is, well, an Oedipal phase is when a child, let's say, particularly in this case, a boy, is between 3 and 7. And what happens during this Oedipal phase or phallic phase is that little boys want to marry their mothers, so to speak, and kill their fathers because they're rivalrous with their fathers. And, it doesn't mean literally, but it means that the little boys want the attention of their mothers and they have to fight with their fathers, to get her attention. He's a competitor. And so it seems like Nick probably, that phase didn't resolve in a normal way. And he has kept this rivalry with his father, throughout his life. I mean, there are other reasons, too. His father was very famous as an actor, as a director. He was big shot in Hollywood. And Nick felt very little compared to him. So, and Nick has had many, many problems over the years. This isn't like just one day he woke up and killed his father, allegedly. He had problems with alcohol and drugs, and he's been to rehabs, like 16 or 17 rehabs. And I think probably he has some undiagnosed psychiatric disorder, such as bipolar disorder or something that wasn't picked up in these rehabs. And so he really wasn't sufficiently treated. And now the story is that the night before the killing, there was an argument at a Hollywood party. Now, it's so far there have been no reports that I've been able to find that say what the argument was about. But getting back to TDS, so I don't know that the argument was related to TDS or anything like that. That his father, Rob, was known to be very much against Trump. But I do know that TDS is really driving families to be very much against each other, pits family members against each other if they like Trump, don't like Trump, things like that. So it's possible it played a role. I don't know for sure yet, but certainly things went wrong much earlier in their relationship.
And but his parents, the Reiners who are now deceased, both of them, those are both Nick's biological parents, aren't they? This isn't, you normally look for, the rocks upon which that person smashed. There's no divorce in the family here. The parents are still together. And I can't imagine actually how difficult it must have been for Michele and Rob Reiner to be raising such an unpredictable, was then an adult son.
Yes. I'm very familiar with what happens at rehabs and what happens with patients in general, psychiatric patients. And sometimes some rehabs are proponents of very much, a very strong way of parents handling their addicted children. Too strong, telling them to just tell them, that to push them out of the house if if they're not going to go to rehab or not going to stop drinking or stop taking drugs. And so there's possibly that, but I really think that perhaps a mental illness was misdiagnosed or not diagnosed.
Yeah, certainly unusual behaviour. That's the understatement of the day. Thank you so much for joining me. Really fascinating. Forensic psychologist Dr. Carol Lieberman there.